Hello viewers, my name is Raza and today we will be learning how to work in QuickBooks Desktop, how to navigate to Vendor Center, how to add vendors using multiple ways, and we learn how to add multiple vendors from Excel or typing manually. We'll also learn how to edit vendor or inactivate vendor or delete a vendor in QuickBooks. So let's start. So this is our home screen for QuickBooks Desktop, and we can actually icons on the left side, but actually when they are in the left side, we can missing some of the important information on the right side, like we can have more space and then we can view a little bit more information. We can put these icons on the top of the screen. And if you want to do the same thing, which I like to have all the time with my QuickBooks, is because it's about the view. So we go to view option and then select top icon bar, and the icon which were on the left side are on the top side of the screen. And if you see on the right corner, we have some important information available, like the balances in our checking account, savings account, and any other account that we have is visible. And now we can write checks or issue any check to our vendors right from this place, like seeing the balance, and then we can issue the checks. So let's start working with the first thing, how you can navigate to the vendor center, because today's class is all about vendors. So we'll be discussing how to navigate to vendors and how to edit, delete vendors, like from our in our QuickBook. So the first thing we are doing here is learning how to navigate to the vendor center. The the number one is you can just click the tab all the way up, the vendors tab, click it, and then you can select vendor center. So once you click it, you are in the vendor center, and you can see on the left side names of all the vendors will be visible. On the top of the screen, you will find the information about that specific vendor that you have selected here. If you select this one, all the name, like the name of the company, contact person, and also the contact details, addresses, everything will be visible here. And the transactions which we have done with this vendor will be visible in this part of the screen. So this screen is called Vendor Center. We can navigate to this screen either by clicking the vendors here and then by selecting Vendor Center. Another way is direct clicking the vendors in this like this vendor icon here. And again, we are in the same vendor center. The third way is if you click the vendors button here on the in the center of the screen. So once you click this button on the home screen, you will find the you'll be in the vendor center one more time. So these are the three different ways through which you can come inside the vendor center. So when you are in the vendor center, you can do all the things that you want to do for vendors, like you can add a vendor, edit a vendor, delete a vendor, inactivate a vendor. So all of these things that you can be doing with the vendors can be possible from here. So let's start working how to add a vendor. So there are three ways you can add a vendor. The first way is you can click the edit tab. And always remember, edit tab has always the options available for each of the screens. So when you are in the vendor center, whatever you want to do is available here. You can see here, you can select new vendor or edit vendor or delete vendor, add or edit multiple vendors at the same time, or make a vendor inactive. So all of these things that you can do from here are visible here. So let's start working with the add vendor. So if you want to add a new vendor, this new vendor button is the button to start working with. But this is not the only button. You can also do the right click, and then you see you got the new vendor option. You can also click it and you will be in the screen, and here you will be updating the detail about the new vendor. Or you can click this edit and then click new vendor, and now you're in this screen, and now you can add a new vendor. The last way is you can add a new vendor by clicking this button, new vendor, and then select new vendor. So there are three ways you can add a new vendor. I suggest remember the edit tab, because it has all the options available all the time for that specific screen. So let's start working with it. So the first thing we are adding a new vendor is the name of the vendor is GJB Wireless. So you can type in GJB GJB wireless, and then we can copy it, and so you can copy in 3 ways. I have selected it like using my mouse key and using my mouse, and then right click, and then see copy is here, or you can go to edit tab and copy is also available here. You see, when you were in the vendor center, it was giving you about adding the vendor, but now you are in this screen. It is giving you option about the cut, copy, paste, all of these type of options, undo typing, so that you can work with it. You can also do copying by clicking the Control C button. Control C is also used for copying. So any of these three things you can use to copy it. So once you copy it, you can paste in the company name. Control V, and then you can move forward. If you have a new balance, if you are starting from the scratch, this is the opening balance. Let's say if you previously you are working manually, and now you are adding this vendor as a new vendor in your QuickBook. Previously you were working in the ledger or register, or in a physical diary. Now you want to update the data. Here you can put the data, like what is the opening balance as of the date you are transferring the data to the QuickBook. So you can put the number here and the date here, and you'll be good. So once you have updated the name of the company, then you'll be updating the contact person. For this exercise, the contact person is Mr. Amir Dhanu. The last name is Dhanu. So you can use the tab button to move to the next like text box. These boxes are called text box because you are inserting the text here. So I click tab, it come to the next one. Job title is business sales rep, and then the phone number is 650 529 1112. And then the addresses, you can start adding address from here directly, like clicking enter, click enter, and then you can start typing. But there are chances that when you update the address, maybe by missing some of the commas or full stop or space, you may put the data in the wrong place. So what I suggest, always update the data in using this edit button. So if you click it, and then here you can update the data. So the address is 721 Chicago Avenue, and the city name is Bayshore. Bayshore. Uh, state is California, and the zip code is 91547. So once you update it, click OK. If the billing address and shipment from address is same, let's say you are billed by the company here, and you will be shipping from the same address, you can just simply click copy address. But sometimes it happens that your vendor is sitting in one place, like at one address, and sending you goods from another address. We have a very good example, like normally whenever we are buying, our seller is normally sitting in America, or maybe sitting in Dubai or any other country, and the items we are purchasing maybe are manufactured in, let's say, China or some other part of the world. Like say, let's say if it's a garment, then it could be India, Pakistan, or Bangladesh, or any other country. And if it's electronic item, then it could be from Japan or some other country like China or some other country. So when you are importing it from other place, but the vendor's office is in, let's say, USA, then you can update the shipment from address separately here. But let's say for this exercise, we are thinking, or we have assumed that the address built from and shipping is same. So we can just simply click copy, and you can see that the address is exactly copied here. Simply click OK, and both of these are updated. If you have the information about the email or some other information about the vendor, you can update it here. If you don't have it, just keep it blank. Then the only important part is name of the vendor is important. Rest of the information is secondary. So if you don't have any other information available, you can skip it. Then the payment settings, if you have payment settings available, let's say for this exercise, we have some information available, like the account number is E31W006 is the account number for this vendor, and we are paying them in 30 days. So whatever the transaction, whenever we do the transaction, we have to pay within 13 days of the date of the invoice with this vendor. So you can select net 30. So here is some important information. Net 15 means we have to pay within 15 days of the invoice. Net 30 means 30 days of the invoice. 60 means net 60 days of the invoice. And on consignment, this is the amount like we have to pay on consignment or when we received, as soon as we receive, we have to pay on receipt. Sometimes we see these type of information. So it means the customer, we have to pay within 30 days, but if we pay within 10 days, we'll get 1% discount. We have to pay in net 30 days. If you pay 10 days, then we can have the 2% discount. We can also create this one by ourselves. So you can click add new, and this is the standard net due end. Let's say we have to pay within 30 days, and how much percentage is allowed? Let's say we are getting 10% discount if we paid within 10 days. I'm just giving the idea. 10% is really very high, but just in case if you want to create your own terms, you can always create it using this one. I can just change it to 2% or 5% something. So you can see the amount is due in 30 days, but if we pay in 10 days, we'll get 5% discount on our transaction amount. So that's how you can set the terms in here. You can click OK, and then so here you can type it's 5%, 10, net 30. So we can select that the customer will get 5% discount if we pay within 10 days, and the total days available for the customer for payment is 30 days, or us is 30 days. Click OK, and then we can see that this new you can say terms is created. But let's say for this exercise, as per the exercise, we have to select the net 30 days. You can select it. If we have to pay tax, or this vendor is charging tax, we can put the tax ID here. If we have some account settings, like why we are paying to this vendor, let's say this is the vendor who always provide us the internet services, we can type here internet, and then we can select this part. So right now we are not, I'm just showing you that this is what we can do when we are adding a new vendor. And then if we have some additional information, like let's say if we want to select whether we've got this vendor, or this vendor is our, you can say the supplier, or let's say the corporate like supplier, or tax agency, or let's say if we are doing it, let's say we are working with we are getting the internet services from our ISP, so we can add the service provider. So whatever the type of vendor is, we can select that part. So let's select this one, and then we can simply select OK, and the vendor is created. So you can see GJB Wireless is created. The name is here, the contact person will be here, type of vendor is here, your account is here, the payment terms is here, address is here, and contact detail is here. So when we do any transaction with this vendor, those transactions will be appearing in this part of the screen. So that's how you can add a vendor. Now, the next thing that will be working is how to edit a vendor. So in order to edit a vendor, we need to first select that vendor. So let's say if we are on the home page, and we got further information about one of the vendors. Let's say we have to update our vendor graphic supply. Previously, we don't have the information about the contact details or the address or some other detail, but that information we got received now. So now we can update those information right away. So how can we update that information? Simply go to vendor center. Again, you can go to vendor center in three ways. Either you can click this vendors from here, or go to vendors here and select vendor center, or you can click the vendors from this place. Any of the three things will work the same. So now we have to update the information about graphic supply shop. So we select the graphic supply shop. There are three ways of doing the editing. The first thing is go to edit tab here, and then select the edit vendor button here. Or you have already selected the graphic supply shop, so right click, and then you can select the edit vendor option from here. Or you can simply double click. What I suggest, that because when the things are changing, so instead of learning the different ways of doing the transaction, always remember what are the you can say the things that are not changing. So if you want to if you realize that when we add the vendor, we went to edit, and then we selected the new vendor, and then uh, or we can go with the right click and selected the new vendor. So these options will remain as it is. So again, if you want to edit, we use the same two options. Go to edit, and then select edit vendor, or we can right click, or select edit vendor. So these are the two, you can say the exactly the same option that you can use with editing or adding or deleting the vendors. But just to give you the idea, you can also double click to do the editing. So once you double click, you can see we are inside again the same vendor information tab, and now we can update or change whatever the information we want. So we are actually getting the information about the main phone number and the address, and we are updating that part. So for this customer, the phone number we receive is 212-555 and 66743. And the address is, again, you can start typing address directly from here by clicking here, and then you can, this line you can edit. Or what I suggest, this is my personal suggestion, always click this edit button and then update the address inside this box. So the address is 302E 44th Street, and then city is New York, New York, and then state is New York, and then the code is 10017. Click OK. Again, the same thing. If you want to have different billing address and shipping address, you can type it separately. But if you have both of them same, simply click copy and then click OK, and your address is saved. Okay. So once it is done, you can also update the payment settings if you have any. You can also update the tax settings if you have any. If you can also update the account settings or any other thing that you want to edit for this vendor, you can update it. And then you can simply say, okay. And whatever you have changed or whatever editing you made will be saved inside the vendor details. The next thing we have is how to, so we have done how to add a vendor, edit a vendor. Now we'll be learning how to inactivate a vendor. So inactivating is very easy. Let's say if I want to inactivate this paper palace, this vendor. So what I can do, I can simply go to edit tab and then make vendor inactive, either by this way, or I can right click and then select make vendor inactive from here, or I can also double click and then see in this checkbox, I can mark it and this vendor will become inactive. So let me do it from the top of the screen. So we can do it from here, paper palace, right click, and then you can say make vendor inactive. So as soon as you make the vendor inactive, you see it's now not visible because this list is about active vendors. If you select all vendors, you will be able to see the inactivated vendors with the cross sign. So you can just simply click over it, it will be gone. Or you can, if it is, or the other way is you can just simply right click and then make vendor active from here, or you can go to edit tab and then make vendor active. So you can make the vendor active in all of the three, in any of the three ways. It's your choice. The last thing remain is how to delete a vendor. So let's say if I want to delete a vendor, I can just simply select the vendor and then I can go to edit tab and then click delete vendor. So that's how, these are different ways you can add, edit or delete a vendor from the vendor center. Now we'll be learning how to add multiple vendors in our vendor center. So to have the multiple vendors updated, like using the copy paste option, you need to have a list available in Excel. Let's say previously the company is not working in QuickBooks. They recently shifted, are in a process of shifting the data from Excel or manual ledger or registers to QuickBooks. So this is the time that you are updating multiple vendors at one time in one go. So the first thing you need to know is you have to have the Excel sheet ready from where you have to copy the data. So So there are two ways. Either you will be updating from the Excel sheet or you will be updating from your ledger or register. So I just show you both the ways. So let's say we are updating the data from Excel sheet. So we can just simply say add, we can go to edit tab here, select it, add or edit multiple vendors. You can select from here, or or you can right click and then add or edit multiple suppliers. So vendors or supplier is the same. You can select this one, or you can select this option where it says add multiple vendors. All the three things will work. It's your choice which option you want to update use. So let's say if I click add multiple vendors from here, so a screen will come up, and here I have to have the Excel sheet ready, or I have to have an Excel sheet from where I have to copy and paste the data. So let's say this is my Excel sheet that I have already opened it for exercise. So the first thing we will be doing is we'll be matching the data or matching the headings, because we don't want our data to go in the wrong place. Otherwise, it will become garbage. Why? If I copy the address in the phone number, or phone number in the address, or name in the phone number, something like that, then all of my data will be corrupted. So that's I want to avoid. So what I will be making sure that the sequence of the headings in the QuickBook is exactly the same way the sequence in my Excel sheet. So you can see the first heading is vendor name. I have the vendor name here. It could be supplier name or vendor name, whatever it is. But the 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 essence should be the same. Like vendor name means vendor name or supplier name. So we have the first heading same. Then name of the company. So I have the company name is here. So this same. The first name, like Mr. and Mrs. title. So Mr. and Mrs. same. Then the first name. I have the first name. Then middle initial. I have the middle initial. Here is the last name. I have the last name. Main phone number. Main phone number. Fax. Alternate phone. So I can see all the headings until now are exactly in the same sequence. And then I have again Excel sheet. I'll be just making sure that everything is there. So after alternate phone, we have the email, which is here, then address one, which is here, then address two, which is here, then address three, which is here, then you can continue address four and address five. So it means the sequence in my Excel sheet is exactly the same way as we have in the Excel. So, so QuickBook and Excel headings are exactly in the same order. So I just am copying. So copying is very easy, in Excel. You can just simply start copying the address from here. Just don't need we don't need to add in selection the vendor name or company name. Why? Because headings are already there. We are just copying the detail of the vendors. So just simply either you can select the first vendor and use the mouse key and then drag it right. I suggest what my practice is, I always use the keyboard. So I'm pressing the shift key and the down arrow key. I have kept the shift key pressed, and now I'm moving right side, and it keep going until I reaches the address 5, which is blank. But yeah, the address 5 detail is right now blank, but that option is also available in my QuickBooks. So you can see address 5 is visible here. So I'll be going all the way left, and then the first blank cell I click in this one. It will tell us that all the data that I'll be copying will be down, like it will be copied down, of course. Okay. And then here we start selecting, like this is the first cell this is the first row that is blank. So I'll just select here. And then there are three ways. Either I can go to edit and then click paste, or I can right click and click paste, or simply control V. And you can see all the data is now copied in this place. So that's how you can add multiple vendors in the QuickBook. The next thing is, let's say if you have some other vendors available, you can see the data is updated for all of the cells, or you can say all the columns. The next thing is, let's say if you want to add any vendor or 5-10 vendors you don't have in Excel, but in the register, or you can say in the physical diary. So you can start typing here, like name of the vendor is ABC, and then they are actually, the company name is also ABC. And then you can type the contact person name is as Mr. Charlie. So this way you can add the name of like manually the name of the vendors and detail of the vendors. Charlie Chaplin. Then you can add the numbers. So it could be any number. I'm just putting some random numbers: 212, 543, 543, and 32. So I'm just, and then let's say if you have some email address, so you can type here cc at email.com, and then owner of the business, 123 Los Angeles Drive. I'm just making it up, so you just need to understand that it's as simple as just typing whatever the information you have. So if you don't have this address too, then you can just keep it blank and then simply say save changes. That's it. So you can see 10 vendors have been saved. So that's how you can save multiple vendors in one go in QuickBook. So we have learned how to add a vendor, edit a vendor, delete a vendor, add multiple vendors. And now you can see when you click any of these vendors, like we created one dummy vendor ABC, you can see the contact details and other things here. We have copied some other information like other vendors directly here. You can see all of these vendors are now available here. And if there is any transaction, those transaction will be available in this part of the screen. So this is it all about how to add, edit, delete a vendor or inactivate a vendor or add multiple vendors in QuickBook. So we'll do another video about how to do a transactions uh, regarding the vendor, regarding like how to work with the transactions pertaining to the vendors. Thank you. Thanks for watching.